All right. So the agenda for this Q&A, I already have a few questions from students. So I will go over those questions. You can interrupt me at any time, okay? And then I take up your questions. After that, I will summarize week 1, week 2, and present week 3, overview, just overview, okay? So anything about agenda? Can anyone hear me? Can somebody confirm you can hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Yes, I can. Thank you.
Before we proceed, can I ask a question?
What is your question?
It's a generic question about the course. I also sent an email, but I'm just quite confused about how this course is being proceeding, considering this my first time taking an online course. I'm just wondering, beside these Q&A sessions, are you uploading any tutorials or any slides or some sort of lessons that I may be missing and I'm not aware of? Because I was looking at the D2L and I couldn't find any actual lessons beside the Q&A that you posted last week.
You are right. We just have a QA because this is a fully online course, and the students supposed to learn from the textbook as well as the online modules. Have you ever gone through the online modules on D2L?
Yes, I have. The modules are simply questions, practical practice questions, correct?
Yeah, if you have questions, you are very, very welcome. There are a couple of ways. One, you can post your question on discussion board. By doing that, you earn credit, okay? If you ask a question, you earn credit. And other students can jump in, answer your questions. Those students earn credit. Remember, we have 10% online discussion marks, okay? Second, discuss with your group members. Your group member not only for group project, but also a form of learning community, okay? Study partners. And the other way, you can email me. But when you email me, I need specific questions. It is better to have a screenshot. And I cannot give you a complete answer. I will always guide you through the process, give you the hint. Because, for example, if you ask questions about my lab online module, because that modules are marked, I cannot give you the answer, but I will explain the concept and techniques involved, okay? So email me. And the other way is to hold your question until every Saturday, we have this Q&A session.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome, Ali. Yeah.
I have a
Yes, Celine, yeah.
Thank you. I have a question in regards to the SPSS, the software. I have trouble downloading the actual software itself. Are you going to go through that soon, or is that something?
I can't because I am not an expert on that technology. But I will refer you this website. Give me 1 second. Some students are asked, I just refer the website. If you can just go to the Google, give me 1 second. So you Google the keyword CCS, Computer Communication Service at Ryerson. CCS, Ryerson University, and you have their website, CCS, Computing and Communication Services. And then you have contact us. Okay, then you fill out this form. There are the people have expertise for the technology with regard to the virtual lab, SPSS, okay? Is that answer your question, Celine?
Yes, in regards to that, I tried reaching out to my group members as well, but no one's really responding in that the discussion group based on the module questions. with the people you've set us up with?
Okay, if that is the case, you write a question, nobody in your group answered, don't be discouraged. Continue send out questions. You know what? You earn the credit. They don't respond, they don't have the credit. At the end of that, I will count how many questions you asked, how many questions you replied, how many summaries you posted, okay?
But for the SPSS project,
Oh yeah, for the SPSS project, so you have to take proactive approach to reaching out to your group members. I know it is not easy, okay? Maybe you propose idea, how about we do 2 samples test, or how about we do regression analysis? You propose idea to have specific questions asked for your group feedback.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome, Celine. Any other questions?
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
yeah.
yeah. I have a question about the group discussion, and so it shows that we have to find assign the question to us. So do we have to find our own question and post it on the discussion board? And
Okay. The question was, do you have to find your own question? You could have your own question that will also be counted. But the module question, each module I posted the question, that is also the group discussion question.
oh, okay. So that's the module question is okay. I got you. Okay, I got it. So
the module
I can
question is
one
also the question assigned to your group. So every group have the same question.
Okay, got you. Thanks. I got it.
Yeah, okay, so I don't need to show you, all right.
Please show me, I just want to confirm.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Because I'm teaching. If you look at the criteria, so I have 2 sections, DA0, DB0, they're the same, okay? So no worries about section. So if you go to discussions,
Yep.
and you see the module question, module 1, answer these 3 questions.
Sure.
This question, consider this question is assigned to your group. Some students ask, are only one group member answer this question? No, you feel free to jump in here to earn more credit. You discuss with your group and then you jump in here. Not necessarily only one representative from group can make contribution here. Everybody can make contribution here. Is that clear?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on module 2, this is the question for module 2. Answer this question.
Sure.
Okay. Or even look at other student question. Maybe some student post a public Q&A. Take a look and answer. If you know the answer, answer the questions and you get mark. And if you have question, you post your answer here, public QA, or each individual module, you can post a question. You can create a thread.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't have to post for example, I don't have to post a module 3 question and just copy the question to the discussion board and right, just post it here.
Yeah, just post it here.
Okay, and I answer or just discuss I'll put in my discussion to my group member, under my group member, the answer, right?
Yeah, anything you discuss with your group will be counted.
Okay.
So it's like, double counting. You discuss something with your group and you make the same idea, you posted the same idea over here. So double counting looks like. So on your benefit, it's to your benefit.
Okay. Sure, I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
In order to get 10 out of 10 for online discussion, if you do this, you guaranteed to get 10 marks, 10 out of 10. For each module, you do 3 postings. You make 3 contributions. The contributions could be in the form of asking questions or could be in the form of answering questions, or could be in the form of summary what you have learned for each module. If you do those, you earn 10 marks for each module. At the end of the day, I count, if you have total over 30 posts, maybe you only ask questions, that's fine. I don't distinguish. Do you only answer question or do you only ask question? I don't distinguish. You ask question or you answer the question. No, I just count and take a look at the nature of your questions. Does that help?
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So make sure you have 3 contributions per module, so you can get 10 marks.
Sure.
Perfect on discussion mark.
3 questions for per module?
Per module, yeah.
Okay. Per
Okay.
module. Okay.
Could be 3 questions, or could be 3 answers, replies, or could be 3 summaries you have, you know, or could be 1 question, 1 answer, 1 summary. Could be 2 questions, 1 answer, no summary. So total is 3. You get it?
Got it. For each module, okay.
For each module, you do 3 contributions. So you are good to get perfect for discussion.
So Mark, you're gonna count it the thing start from this week, because I don't get it before.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
Good question, Yang. Remember, if you take a look at this discussion, did I put deadline? No, but the course outline said you're supposed to make contribution by midnight of every Friday, but I didn't prevent you to go back to module 1, for example. No, I don't prevent you. So you go ahead, go to the previous module.
I did it, but I just leave 1 question. Just leave 1 question and not enough for 3 actually. No 3 answer.
Not 3, that is the average. Maybe module 1, you have 2, and module 2, if you have 4, so average is 3.
Okay,
That's
okay.
Fine,
Nice.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Any other questions?
I just have a question about the quiz. Could you please explain how you'll run the quiz? Because I know there's an upcoming quiz next week.
Okay. The quiz is multiple choice questions. I plan to post, there are just multiple choice questions.
Are you going to post them on D2L? So then.
Oh, sure. The quiz will be here. Go to assessment. Okay. You see the quizzes.
Okay.
I already have the 5 quizzes available. I haven't updated yet.
So,
okay.
So yeah. We can do it anytime on the 23rd, right? Anytime. Or
once it is opened, you can do it anytime by the due date.
Okay, all right.
Right.
There's a time limit too, right?
There is time limit, right?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
How long is the time limit?
I haven't decided. This semester, I have to make update, so I haven't decided yet. I will make announcement once the information is available, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, is the quiz, how is it up until module 3 or only module 2?
It is up to module 11.
No, I mean for the first quiz.
Oh, the first quiz up to module 3, yes.
Okay, and when is the quiz?
When I will post in few days. It is here under the assessment quizzes, and then you see quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, quiz 4, quiz 5. The best 3 quizzes will be counted, so no worries. I only count the best 3, not all 5 quizzes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This is Ahmed, right?
Yes, Ahmed.
Yeah. Nice to see you online. I got your lots of emails.
Yeah, I was asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, I love your questions. Okay, so
Thank you.
Any other general questions before I start solving the questions? All right, so you can jump in anytime, okay, everybody. So I'm going to
Before
start.
we proceed, sorry, Professor, just a question about modules. So when you say module 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, is there a list of which module is for which chapter? So I know that it starts from chapter 10, but chapter 10, each of them has sections. So like, is module 2 like chapter 11, or is it part of chapter 10? How does that work?
If you look at the title of the module, for example, module 1, confidence interval estimate for population mean, you know this one coming from chapter 10, session 1, and session 2. And if you see the module title for module 2, confidence interval estimate for population proportion and sample size, that comes from chapter 10, session 3, and session 4. Okay.
Okay, so we have to look at the title and basically search for
Look at the title, yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm going to start off the question I got for module 1, okay. This is the question I get. The question is, assume population is normally distributed. Construct a 95% confidence interval. Construct 95% confidence interval estimate for population mean for each sample below. So there are 2 samples, for sample A and for sample B. Okay, I will give you the hint. And there are lots of concepts involved. Okay, when you use your calculator, you do this. You enter the data as list. You have to enter data as list first because, okay, enter data as a list. Anyone know how to do it? How do you enter a data as list?
You have to change a variable into list.
Yeah, so, right, but before you do that, how do you enter this data into calculator? That is the question.
So you input it in the list. So you input all the numbers in sample A. And then when you do the calculations for the 95 confidence interval, you change the variable to a list.
Excellent. Hope everyone get it. First, you enter the data on the list. When you open your calculator, make sure it is a statistic mode. And then on top, you have list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4. Select any list. Let's say list 1, okay? So in list 1, you enter those numbers, okay? After that, you press F4 button, interval, okay? And then press F2 button, t-test. When original data, this is the raw data. When raw data is given, always use T, not Z, because this is a sample. When sample data is given, use T, okay? So F4, F2, and then F1. After that, on the data, you must select list, not variable. On the data, select list, and then enter the C level, confidence level, 95% or 0.95, okay? And then you are asked to select list. When you enter data, you have to remember, did you enter data as list 1 or list 2? If you enter as list 1, you select list 1. If you enter data as list 2, you select list 2, okay? Frequency 1, okay? And then you press EXE, you will get the answer, okay? So this question comes from a student saying, the standard deviation is not given. How do I construct confidence interval estimate? The answer is you have to use a list. You do not need standard deviation. If you really need standard deviation, everybody is supposed to know how do you calculate the standard deviation of this, right? You calculate the standard deviation, okay? How? Simple way to use Excel. You punch in the data and then you punch in the data. For example, 1, 2, 4, I missed 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 4, 5, 5, 7, 8, 5, 5, 7, 8, okay? And then you calculate standard deviation equal STD EV dot S. Dot S means sample, okay? So standard deviation of this number, and you get 2.32, right? This is the standard deviation. And once you get this standard deviation, you can also calculate the mean, and then you can still use calculator when you know the sample mean, sample standard deviation, sample size. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is this question. The other commonly asked question. When you have this 95%, or this, I will save this as next question. So this is the, any question about this question? All right, so go to next one. Yes, this is this question. I have to move this a little bit over. This is again module 1 questions. Marketing researcher want to estimate the mean savings. Estimate the mean. Okay, is practice to online a random sample of 81 shoppers who recently purchased the electronic items, making a visit with the mean and the standard deviation. See, this question give you the mean, give you the standard deviation, right? And ask you to construct 99% confidence interval. Okay, so for this one, you use F4, F2, F1. Okay, go to 1. And then data is variable. Okay, data select variable. And then type in C level, 99%, X bar mean, SX, standard deviation, N sample size. You should get the answer. Okay, so this is this question. Now this is this next question. If sigma equal to 45, what sample size is needed to estimate the mean within positive negative 5 with 90% confidence? Okay, so the solution is given. Use this formula, Z square, sigma square divided by E square. This within, if you see keyword within, this number is E, margin of error, E. You plug in this number in the formula, okay? And then sigma is given 45. The only question is, how do you know Z equal to 1.645 when you are given 90% confidence? This is the question. I addressed this question last Saturday. If you review the video, make sure, given any confidence interval, you can calculate the Z, critical value Z. In this example, you are given 90% confidence interval. The question is, what is this Z value? Critical Z, sometimes we also called Z half alpha. Okay, because of the symmetry, there is negative Z half alpha. The question is, how do you know, given 90%, what is this Z half alpha? What is this value here? How do you know? Make sure you know how to do it. It is as basic as 1 + 1 = 2, okay? So there are many ways to do it. One way, you can use a calculator, okay? You press F. If you have calculator in front of you, I strongly suggest you follow my step here. You press F5 distribution, okay? And then F1 normal distribution, and after that F3 inverse. Inverse means critical value or Z value, okay? So data variable and tail. If you see this picture, you select center. Tail, you select center. Okay, and then area means what is this center, the area of this center? It is 90%. So area is 90%. 90% is the same as 0.9. Okay, so you type in area 0.9. Okay, sigma is 1, mu is 0. Type in sigma 1, mu is 0, and then press EXE, you get 1.645. Any questions?
Why are we finding the inverse of normal?
Because you need to find this point. If you want to find a point, you need to press inverse button. Inverse means any point on this line. Any point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good question, but because when we do the hypothesis test, this is module 3, you need to press F2. That is the NCD, normal cumulative distribution. That is the area. If you, for example, given this point, this is another question, okay? The question is, given this point is 1.645, question is, what is the area of this little tail? And that is the concept of p-value. We are going to have that concept in next module, module 3, hypothesis test. But since we are here, so I'm going to, because today we also address hypothesis test question. So I am going to create a brand new question. And that question is very basic and fundamental. So I'm going to type up the question here. The question is, this is brand new question, okay? So I'm going to erase those. And nothing to do with this question. This is a brand new question to practice how to use calculator, okay? And how to calculate p-value, a new concept in hypothesis test. So if I give you a graph, bell-shaped normal distribution, we know this is a standard. Standard means this point is 0. Any point here is a positive number. Any point here is a negative number, okay? So I need your help. Can anybody give me a number here? Any number, or here, or here? Make up a number. Anyone give me a number? Maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. Give me a number.
20.
Sorry. Can somebody send a number? Must be a Z value. Z value. Give me a number here.
55?
5? That's way too big. Give me something between 0 and 2. Any number between 0 and 2.
1.5?
Thank you so much. Suppose this point is 1.5. Everyone agree? okay, positive because this is 0. Okay, once you have this point, do you agree there is and only one area to the right of this point? Do you agree there is an area on the right-hand side of this point, this green part, green shaded area? Is that clear? And now the question is, what is this area? That is the question. To answer that question, we have to understand the basics about normal distribution. In normal distribution, the area under the bell-shaped curve is 1. Recognize this. Area equal to 1. This area is 1. If this area is 1, can you guess what is this area? Just give me a guess. Just guess. Can anyone guess if the whole area under the bell-shaped curve is 1, and if this point is here, 1.5, can you guess what is this area?
2.
Oh, the whole area is 1. How can you get 2 here? See, the whole area, this area, the big area is 1.
0.25?
Yes, something like that. Okay, the whole area is 1. Thank you so much. Maybe 0.25, maybe 0.3, maybe 0.27, maybe 0.4, something like that. But it must be smaller than 0.5. Because if the whole area under the bell-shaped curve is 1, each is 0.5. Left-hand side 0.5, right-hand side 0.5. I mean the area. Is that clear? Okay, so now return back to our question. The question is, I will redraw this diagram. The question is, given a point, this point is 1.5. What is the question? The question is, what is this area? What is this area? That is the question. Okay, and make sure you know how to do this, because module 3 hypothesis test, until the last module, module 12, we'll use this a lot. P-value, okay, we'll use this a lot. So the question is, what is this area? Okay, so let's do it. I strongly suggest bring your calculator, and I'm going to Okay, F5 on your calculator. Press F5, okay, and then press F1, normal. After that, press F2, NCD. NCD represents normal cumulative distribution. Cumulative distribution is the area. Area is the cumulative distribution, okay? So you press F2. And after that, again, this is the question I got last week, okay? Actually, this is the review of module 1, some questions. So students ask, why the longer you put a very big number, for example, negative 10,000, you can put any negative, big negative number. You can put negative 10,000, okay? The reason why, because this normal distribution bell-shaped curve, this part is extend forever. It will never touch this x-axis, will never touch. That's why we imagine there is, hold on, this F1 normal, F2, and then, okay, it is extend, okay? So we are asking for this area up to here. until forever. So we call this 1.5 is the lower bound, and we imagine there is a very big number here, very big number. There is a very big number, 10,000. 10,000 is here because the computer asks us lower up. So lower, you put 1.5, upper, you put a very big number, positive number, 10,000. Sigma is 1, mu is 0. And you get P equal to 0.06. 0.0668 means this area equal to 0.0668. And the computer give you P. This P has a name P-value. You will see a lot about P-value. And this 1.5 in hypothesis test has a name test statistic. So when you have a test statistic, how do you calculate the p-value? You go F5, F1, F2. Is that clear? Any questions? Okay. So this is this question. And
Oh wait, can you explain how you got 220 for the sample size using the calculator?
220
for the solution, like behind that.
behind that. 220. Oh, thank you. For this question, you get 219, right? 19.19, because it is a sample size question, you always round up regardless. So when you have 219.1, you round it up to 220. This is the rule. Thank you for asking. That's why you have this one.
No, how did you get that number using the calculator?
Oh, you use calculator, you have to use not a statistic mode. You have to use run match. But I would strongly suggest everyone can use Excel. Okay, you go to the Excel, you plug in this formula. So equal to 1.645 raised to power 2 multiplied by 45 raised to power 2 divided by, I'll put this over, divided by 5 raised to power 2. This is the Excel. Did you see it? If I press enter, see, I get this one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Just use Excel.
Okay.
Yeah, easy.
Sorry, could you?
Yeah.
Sorry, could you explain how you got the X value of 1.645?
Thank you so much. 1.645. How did I get 1.645? This one you have to use a calculator. For calculator, the question is, how do you get 1.645? 1.645 is based on 90%. When you have 90%, critical value is 1.645. Why? Because when you press F5, F1, F3, okay, please do it on your calculator. When you F5, F1, F3, tail center, data variable, tail center, area, type in 90% or 0.9, sigma is 1, mu is 0, and press EXE, you get 1.645 from calculator.
Okay, I see. Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. This is the question I get. How do I find the confidence interval for population mean if standard deviation is unknown? I already answered that question from here. So how do you find confidence interval if population standard deviation is not given? I did this, right? I answered that question. So that is the question I collected over my email list. And now I open the floor up to see if you have any questions. And then I have to overview the hypothesis test, chapter 3, module 3.
I have a question regarding like the model 3, how to find the p-value.
Hi, excellent. Thank you so much. How to pronounce your name?
Gemina.
Gemina, thank you so much for
Yeah,
that
so
question.
the question is this, I get confused. I know how to get the p-value on the calculator, right? So
Yeah.
I know that you go to like F5, FU, F1, I'm sorry, and then
F2, F5, F1, F2.
But my question, how you know when to put the C stat value on lower or on the upper one? Like I get really confused with that one.
All right. Do you have specific question?
Yeah, so for example, there is one that it says that we have like a C stat of minus 1.5. So
Okay. Thank you. I can imagine. Yeah. Okay, I'll type it up the question. Okay. So correct me. Okay. If so, the question is if z equal to
minus 1.5.
negative 1.5. So the question is what is the p-value, right? Did you get the information? Is this the one-tailed test or two-tailed test?
It's a two-tailed.
Okay, suppose it is two-tailed because two-tailed and one-tailed different story. So everyone, I will start up with 0. You have 0 knowledge about hypothesis test. You can follow my steps to answer this question. Okay, I assume 0 knowledge. Okay, because it is just calculator and draw the diagram. Strongly suggest when you ask for the p-value, you draw diagram, bell-shaped curve, and in this diagram, you know the central is 0, and you know this negative 1.5 is on the left-hand side of 0. And the p-value, what is the p-value? P-value is the area corresponding to this z value. When it is one-tailed, this area is p-value. But you are giving me two-tailed, so there's another tail here. So p-value is this area plus this area, that is the p-value. Because the bell-shaped curve, we know it is symmetry. So if you know just one area, multiply by 2, you get p-value. Is that clear? Just found one tail and then multiply by 2, you get two-tailed. So let's focus on one tail. Okay, so let's focus on one tail. The question becomes, hey, given this negative 1.5, how do I find this area? How do I find this area? You follow exactly the same procedure I gave you before. You follow F5, okay, and then F1, and then F2, okay. After that, log, because computer asks you for log. In this case, the log, you will put negative 10,000. I will tell you why. This bell-shaped curve is, this part is extend forever, okay? But we'll never touch this one. So we imagine there is a very big negative number here. that number is 10,000. Can you put 20,000? Of course, you will get the same result. Okay. Can you put 100,000, negative 100,000? Yes, you can do that. So normally we just put negative 10,000. Okay. So the question is, what is this area? Okay. So that's why when you see computer logger, you need to type in negative 10,000. Okay. And then up this negative 1.5 is up. Negative 1.5 is up. So you type in negative 1.5, sigma is 1, mu is 0, press EXEK, and you get P equal to 0.0668. So this area equal to 0.0668. Okay, P value equal to 0.0668 multiplied by 2, because I also have this part. It's also part of P value. Okay, multiply by 2. You get P value. And the result is 0.1336. Okay, this is a great question. Everyone, please make sure, given any Z value, you can find the P value. P value is just the area corresponding to, in hypothesis test, this number we call this negative 0.5 has a name test statistic. This number is test statistic. The other way to ask this question is, given test statistic equal to negative 1.5 and it is two-tailed test, what is p-value? Okay. Test statistic. Okay, this is this question. Any other questions?
Yes, I have the question. There is another question where the C value is 2.1. And instead of putting the number like on the upper, we put it on the lower. So it's lower 2.1 and upper is 10,000. So I never know where to put it.
Thank you so much. The other question, if Z equal to 2.1, let's say, okay? And what is the p-value? And this time, suppose it is one-tailed test, okay? Because I already gave you two-tailed test. This time, let's do one value, one-tailed. At the same time, I will answer your question, when do you put positive 10,000? When do you put negative 10,000? You draw diagram, the diagram will tell you. Okay, draw a diagram, okay? And you know this is 0. Okay, mu is 0. The given is 2.1 must be here. This is 2.1. Okay, so p-value is the area corresponding to test statistic. So you are asked, what is this area? Only this right tail area. There is no left tail area because this is one tail test, I told you. Okay, one tail test. So this is the p-value. And the question is, how do I find this p-value? Okay, how do I find this p-value? And the solution is go F5, F1, F2. Okay, so go F5, F1, F2. And then the question is, how do I put negative or positive? Look at this diagram. If this is 2.1 and this is the other part, so this 2.1 must be a lower bound. And this a big number, must be positive number, 10,000. Did you get it? Because this is 0. Everything on the right-hand side of 0 must be positive.
Yes, but the question says that it's a two-tailed test.
Okay, so I can change it to two-tail, no problem.
Yeah, and still they put
Yeah, okay, I got your question. Okay, still could be on the other side. Okay, great. So I changed the question to, given z value 2.1, question is what is p-value? Suppose this is two-tailed test. So when you suppose this is two-tailed test, you are absolutely right. There is another side here, and you are confused. Do you use positive 10,000? Do you use negative 10,000? Both are okay. Because you have to choose one, not both, okay? You choose, if you choose positive 10,000, you are looking at right tail. If you choose negative 10,000, you are looking at left tail. You must choose one, not both. When you choose left, and this point must be negative 2.1. Remember, we just did this negative 1.5. If you can do negative 1.5, you can do negative 2.1, right? And you get P from calculator. Multiply that number by 2, you get p-value. And if you're looking at the right tail, you need to use positive 10,000, okay? And you need to use this positive 2.1. This 2.1 is lower, and this positive is up, okay? And when you use here, this is lower. Lower is negative, no, this is lower. Negative 10,000 is lower. Negative 2.1 is up. This one is up. Okay, so I suppose use this right tail. I will quickly run the number because I want to give you the correct answer you can compare, okay? So let's do the right tail here. You will get the same number, okay? So you press F5, F1, F2, and then lower you type in 2.1 is lower, okay? Lower 2.1, upper you type in upper positive 10,000, positive 10,000, okay? 10,000. Sigma is 1, mu is 0. So I get 0.0176, okay? You get this number. If you do this one here, you will get the same number, except you use lower negative 10,000, upper negative 2.1. You will get the same number here as here. Please verify. Okay. Any questions? Other students are okay? All right, so I'm going to just use a few minutes, few moments to give you a overview of hypothesis test. So in module 3, it is about hypothesis test, okay? Hypothesis test. There are 6 sections. By the way, this is chapter 11, hypothesis test, okay? Section 1 is the concept of hypothesis test. A hypothesis is just a statement. For example, I claim the average age at Ryerson University is 23 years old. So I can use hypothesis. I say H0, the average age, mu. Hypothesis is always targeting population, okay? So mu equal to 23. Alternative hypothesis is always the opposite of H0. So the opposite side, mu is not equal to 23. One of these is correct, only one. It is either mu equal to 23 or mu not equal to 23. How do you know which one is correct? You do hypothesis test, 5 steps. Go through the online module D2L or go through the textbook chapter 11. Okay, that I'll tell you the 5 steps. Okay. At the end of the day, how do you make the conclusion? Your conclusion is based on this diagram. Okay, and in this diagram, you need to have 2 items. One is we call test statistic. Test statistic is just a label. It is mathematically, it is just a formula in mathematics. Formula, okay? It is just a formula. So if you have the Z test statistic have Z test has T test. If you have Z test, the formula is use sample mean. If you see X bar, always represent sample mean, okay? Minus population mean. Population mean I gave you, see, mu equal to 23, okay? So just use this. It is like a court situation. A person is innocent until proving otherwise. So you assume population is 23. Later on, you can overthrow this decision, okay? So this is the formula, divided by population standard deviation over square root of sample size, okay? So this is the Z test statistic. Now, a commonly asked question, how do you know you use Z? How do you know you use T? The rule of thumb is when population standard deviation is given, you use Z. Second situation, when the problem is about proportion, percentage, you use Z. Okay. So now, when do you use T? So I will write down the formula first, then I will explain. The formula for T, X bar minus mu, divided by sample standard deviation over square root of sample size. So when do you use T? When sample standard deviation S is given, or when the raw data is given. For example, the original data. The beginning, see, this is the raw data, okay? When the original data is given, you use T, okay? So that is the distinguish when you use T, when you use Z, okay? So anyway, you get test statistic from where? Formula, okay? Those formula is test statistic, okay? Once you get this formula, remember the result is a number. For example, 2.1 or 1.5 or 0.6, etc., etc. The result of those formula is a number, okay? Once you have this number, you plug in those number into here, okay? So that is the test statistic, okay? On the other hand, you need the critical value, What is the critical value? Critical value is always the commonly used critical value corresponding to these 3 situations commonly used. One is when you have 90%, okay? For example, the question is test the hypothesis at 90% or test the hypothesis at 0.01 level of significance, okay? So when you have 90%, we already know this point is 1.645, okay? So 1.645 is the critical value, and the other point is negative 1.645. Okay, And we also have a popular one, 95%. When you have 95%, the critical value 1.96 and negative 1.96. This point is negative 1.96. Okay. And the last one is when you have 99%. These three popular ones. When you have 99%, 2.576 is the critical value, 2.576. The other one is negative 2.576. And how do you get these numbers? I showed you at the beginning. Use calculator. F5, F1, F3. Okay. So those are the critical value. And you compare the critical value with the test statistic. You do comparison where you compare here, the diagram. Plug in your test statistic. If your test statistic is here, you do not reject H0. Okay, if your test statistic is here, you reject H0. And we call this is the rejection region, rejection region, rejection region, rejection region. Anything, the test statistic is in the rejection region, you reject H0. Reject means you reject this one, means this is not correct. When H0 is rejected, you automatically go for H1. H1 is correct. And this based on the test statistic is in the rejection region. How about if the test statistic is here, not rejection region, not rejection region, not rejection region, not rejection region? If this is the case, you accept the H0. When you accept H0, you automatically reject H1 because one of them is correct. Okay. So that is the idea of hypothesis test. I actually combine all these are very basic core for session 1, session 2, session 3. We also touched upon one-tailed test, two-tailed test over here. Okay, so basically that is the overview of hypothesis test. Again, this is not a rocket science, but it needs you to put on the time effort. If I were you, I will go through the textbook examples first. Examples are always my best teachers. And then I will go over online modules on D2L. And then I will write down all the questions I have. I post my questions on discussion board to earn credit, okay? Or if you cannot, it is emergency, you can email me or hold your question on Saturday. Always come to Saturday prepared, have your questions ready, okay? So I may have a few minutes to open up if you have any other questions.
I have a question, thanks.
Yes.
My question about how to tell the population standard deviation from the sample standard deviation in the questions. For example, the homework just due yesterday, and in the question 5, it said the standard deviation, but it actually means population standard deviation. So the different formula for you.
The question is, how do you distinguish the given standard deviation is population standard deviation or sample standard deviation? You do this. If you see the keyword sample, a random sample of 30 students is selected, standard deviation is, that must be sample. If you don't have keyword sample, usually it is population standard deviation. This is one. Second, if the standard deviation refer to historical data, that must be population standard deviation. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Yang. Any other questions?
No. No, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. I hope you enjoyed this section. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great long weekend. Happy Victoria Day. I will see you next Saturday. And that's all for this section. I'm going to stop recording.